What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Standing Room Only episode number 112. I believe this is 112 that we're on right
Yeah.
now. As always, make sure you are following our social media accounts. That's our only pod. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram. You can find us on TikTok as well. In this episode, we got some big news. We got some big NFL news that we're going to go over, aka Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, a few other topics. In the NBA, the Bulls are sliding, not just against the East, but against the West, the top teams. We got some other topics as well. As always, make sure you follow our personal accounts. I am iGoose with 4 O's, and then we have Healy as well.
Follow me at the Healy6 on Twitter and Instagram.
So we're going to get it started. I think NFL's got to be the biggest topic.
Oh, no doubt.
I did not, I was working today. I get a text from my buddy here, Healy. I'm like, hey, we got a podcast tonight. We do. And he said, well, guess what we get to talk about? Aaron Rodgers. I'm like, oh, what else? I didn't even ask what else. And he's like, oh, guess what? Russell Wilson also. And I had to Google it, and he's a Bronco. It's official. I believe they had to go through a physical and give approval. I believe that was
because he had like a no-trade clause.
So there is a lot going on in the NFL, which usually around this time with the trade deadline, not the trade deadline, the deadline for the
franchise
free agent,
tags.
Yeah, the franchise tag. Sorry,
the new season technically starts next week. Or
yes,
whatever.
So of course, with the NFL Combine and everything else that's happening, big news. And I think we'll start with big news and go with bigger news here. Big news would be Aaron Rodgers decided to stick with Green Bay, signed a massive deal.
We don't know the numbers yet.
Nothing's official.
Because
I believe Schefter.
They said it was 200 over 4 years, but then Aaron Rodgers tweeted out, yes, I'm back with Green Bay, but the numbers aren't correct. They were saying it was a team-friendly deal. So how do you get a team-friendly deal and then also get paid $50 million a year? That doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. And I believe they said originally, too, that it would be like $155 million guaranteed around there, which, again, not really team-friendly. It just didn't make sense because everything I was reading was, they basically are the first 2 years are making it team-friendly so Green Bay can do whatever they want. And in my head, I'm thinking, the first thing they're going to do is franchise tag Davante Adams, unfortunately, which they did. And then now they can bring in somebody else, whether if it's on the defensive side, on the offensive side, maybe another receiver, who knows. But then Rodgers, obviously, as Healy just mentioned, basically denied. He said, yes, I'm coming back, but not on those terms. So now it makes you wonder. So they did apply the franchise tag to Davante Adams, which, as we know, it's a bittersweet deal. You get paid in the top tier, but it's only a 1-year deal. And unfortunately, especially with football, injuries do happen.
He deserves all the money that he can get because he's been the best wide receiver in the game for the past couple of years. He's getting paid not what he's valued.
Exactly. The good thing is he has his quarterback coming back. He has Aaron Rodgers coming back. So that's huge. Green Bay, I think, is still a contender. I didn't really think that Rodgers would be gone as a Packer fan. I didn't think he would be gone after, towards the end of the season, you kind of are hearing and you're seeing the fire rekindle a little bit. I think after the run that they had, it was a tough loss in the playoffs, but it's just one of those that he couldn't go out on. And the rumor was, what other team would Rodgers go to? I think Denver was the only other one that really was going to push for him 100%. So he had an option. I can stay with Green Bay, who's a win-now team, or I can go to Denver, who in theory is a win-now team, considering their defense has been top 3 the last couple seasons, literally 3rd in points allowed last year, which is a big deal. So either way, it was a win-win situation for Rodgers. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to, what is this contract? I want to know the details. What does it mean for the rest of the team?
Jordan Love controversy now.
Jordan Love. That's going to be the next biggest thing, because now you go out. I don't want to say waste a draft pick, because I do think Jordan Love could be good. I think that has potential. Now, could you consider it a waste because now you decided, all right, maybe we're not going to go with the 3 years or 4 years like we do with Rodgers and then throw Jordan Love at the starting quarterback position? Sure. But there's teams out there that need a quarterback. Do you keep Jordan Love as a backup? I mean, that's like almost like the Bills keeping Trubisky as a backup.
You take him where his value is the highest, and also I get this as a business, but from like a personal standpoint, you drafted him in place. It was supposed to be the next like Favre Rodgers transition. I thought for sure they were gonna do the same to Rodgers as they did with Brett Favre, where they're like, all right, you're done. I get you're still pretty decent, but we're moving on. And he was such a top tier talent. It's not like he's not starting because he isn't good. You kind of just have to put him in a good situation now. Keeping him around is cool. Like, I get if Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, Love could step in. But from the same time, from a personal standpoint, I feel like he deserves a chance before his career like goes to waste, because there's only so much you could do sitting on the bench.
Yeah, there's very few quarterbacks that I can think of. There are quarterbacks who literally are backup quarterbacks their whole career, and when they do have a chance to play, they're really good. Like Gardner Minshew at this point is always, I feel like always going to be a backup, but he's always going to be a damn good backup.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, Rodgers, if this is an actual 4-year deal, I think with how he's been playing, he can finish off 4 years. At that point, Jordan Love would be in the league for 7
Well, his contract
years.
would run out at that point.
And it would run out at that point. He's not going to re-sign, obviously. He wants to go start somewhere. It kind of makes you wonder, what is Green Bay's next move now? There's teams that need quarterbacks. There's teams that are going to have major quarterback competitions. See, we'll get to it, but there's one in Seattle that we can for sure speak on.
Seattle, you have Pittsburgh,
yeah. I mean, the Saints, technically,
potentially
we don't
the
know.
Giants,
potentially the Bucks. I mean, the list goes on. There's a lot of teams that will make a trade for a Jordan Love type quarterback just to draw up the competition. Let's see who's got it in, summer camp or in going into, preseason.
mm-hmm. And you could probably get Jordan Love for probably like a 3rd round pick.
Absolutely.
It won't cost a lot. 3rd round picks could hit, but I'd take the risk dishing one out.
I think it's a win-win. You get, as Green Bay, you get the extra pick. As the team, you give up the 3rd round pick. And I mean, look at Jordan Love was drafted 1st round, 2nd round. I mean,
I think AJ Dillon was the first pick.
AJ Dillon. Yeah, I think you're right. So Jordan Love, they got super early though. I mean, we're talking like
where he was round 1, pick 26.
So he was 26th. He was 26th overall. That's what I thought. I wasn't sure. And I think AJ Dillon came 2nd. And so that's a big deal to be drafted in the 1st round to, again, I don't want to call it wasting a pick.
You're right. Dillon was 62nd overall.
Okay. 2nd round. Okay. So now you trade him. You get a late round pick. Doesn't even have to be this year. Get what you can. Maybe you get a player. Who knows? Maybe you get a player out of it. It's going to be crucial. Everything here on out, Rodgers is on his final contract. There's no way it's not his final contract. Unless he finds a fountain of youth like Tom Brady. Who knows? And every move from here on out is going to be crucial. Maybe they go out and get another receiver. Maybe they get I don't even know like who they can get at this point. I know there's still going to be maybe some free agency. There's going to be some signings. It's all going to come down to that contract, the details of the contract for Aaron Rodgers. So obviously that'll come out very soon. On top of, like we just mentioned, Devontae Adams got the franchise tag. So that first year, I assume the first year or two, if they make it a team-friendly contract, is going to be a little bit less in Rodgers' pocket, and it's going to be loaded up on the backside of that contract. So, hopefully.
Yeah, and as soon as Aaron Rodgers signed, Denver Broncos were in need of a quarterback. They moved very quickly. They got their new franchise quarterback with Russell Wilson. And there was talks earlier in the week that Russell Wilson might not have even been traded this offseason.
That was crazy. They move faster than dude, they move quick. They got their nukes. They had their nukes ready, if you know what I mean. They it was almost like within the hour.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, the Broncos are trading. I don't even know what the details are. I know Drew Lock apparently
2
is a part
firsts,
of
2 seconds, Drew Lock, Noah Fant. It may be another player.
Really?
Yeah.
I like Noah Fant. I think that's a good deal. I think 2 first, 2 second. Obviously, they're not all in the same year.
I think the Broncos easily won this deal. The only way for it to turn and the Seahawks to win, they actually have to have good drafts. Their draft history is one of the worst in the league and is a reason why that Legion of Boom died and they could never get back to a serious contender with Wilson at quarterback.
It died so, I don't want to say quick. They had a very good run for 2 to 3 seasons. But yeah, I think the Broncos are dangerous. I think we already know, we talk every year, especially I'm really big into fantasy football. Every year, it's always, oh, Cortland Sutton. Like this year, Cortland Sutton, he's going to return. He's going to be healthy. Jerry Jeudy, the speedster on the outside. Noah Fant, but Noah Fant's obviously gone now. They have Williams at running back. They have the defense. Like I said before, the defense is like the top defense.
They might get Von Miller back.
Von Miller made a comment. What did he say? 5280? Was that it was?
He said 58 or 40 for his number. Or 5280 is, I guess, the mile high.
That's what I thought it was.
He also posted, do you think I can get my locker back? Like the same locker.
So he's going back. Von Miller's a dog. This dude literally, so he's won, obviously, a Super Bowl. He left. He got traded to go to a win-ready team.
Won another.
He's going back to Denver, basically, which is his home. I mean, I would go, but that to me, that's like the best thing you could do.
He didn't even want to get traded to the Rams. He didn't care. He was like, all right, I guess it's a business. I'll go.
Yeah, it was a shock. It was a shock to him and the rest of the team. And I think the Broncos, and people don't realize, this is a Broncos team that gave up less than 20 points in like at least half their, I forgot what it was, in like at least half of their games. They put pressure on Mahomes. Mahomes is human. That Chiefs team can be beat. When you have a defense like that, and now you have Russell Wilson, who to me is still one of the best quarterbacks in the game. There's no way he's not. With some of those offensive pieces, and who knows what's going to happen in the offseason. I think right now they're immediate contenders in the AFC West. And I know people look at the Raiders, they look at the Chargers. I don't get me wrong. I think the AFC West is good. I think they just got stronger. I think the Chiefs probably are still going to be the favorites. But shout out to those dudes on BR Bets who ran. They were in Vegas and they ran as soon as the news broke that they got Russell Wilson and it wasn't official. They went and put some money on the Broncos to win the Super Bowl at a plus 1,700. Shout out to them for being quick. So I'm telling you right now, I guarantee you the odds already changed on that. There's no way the Broncos aren't at least a second round playoff team. I'm saying they should, there's a chance they might take that division, especially with the way the Chiefs have been crumbling.
And they play in Denver. That helps. It
helps a lot. It does. That's, I mean, when you're training up there and you have guys going to you, it's a completely different game. That's going to be, this season's going to be fun.
Going back to the Seahawk draft picks, this is their last 4 first-round picks. Jermaine Fetty, don't know how to pronounce the last name.
Fetty Wap.
Rashad Penny, who's been okay. LJ Collier and Jordan Brooks. I don't even like recognize most of those guys' names.
Rashad Penny's the only one, and he's been hurt. I mean, when he plays, he's not bad. I guess that's okay.
And like, I guess another question with the Seahawks: DJ Metcalf get traded?
Are you asking, or did you tell me that just now?
Are they going to?
Oh, my heart just sank.
No,
I don't think you can really. Is he on his contract year?
I'll take a look at it right now.
Okay, so my thinking is if he's on his contract year, yes, because I don't see this team competing. There's no way they're competing in that division.
He's not going to resign.
He has no reason to.
2022 is his last year with the team.
So this is so he's on his contract year. My thinking is you're looking at arguably one of the best receivers in the game. Statistically, physically, the things I would do to have his stature, like I would try to trade and get something in return, whether if it's 2 picks, trade him to a win now team, trade him to Green Bay, see if Green Bay wants him. Maybe Green Bay offers up Jordan Love and a first round. Who knows? Green Bay would love to have him, and his contract. I mean, for 1 year, why not?
Let
me talk to the front office.
It'd be insane.
But, I saw somebody post that on Twitter, and I read one reply, and I couldn't help but agree. He's like, why would we trade DK when he's the best receiver, one of the best receivers in the game? And I was like, you know what? He's right. But I'm thinking, like, they're not going to compete in the West, in literally the toughest division I've seen in a long time, like a very long time. You have the Rams, who are still going to compete again for the Super Bowl. You have the 49ers, who knows what they're going to do with Jimmy G. The Cardinals, maybe. I think Cardinals are still going to be a plus 500 team.
Yeah, I think they finished 4th in the division. As I mentioned, why would DK re-sign with that Seahawks team? They are in need of a rebuild. They aren't just like a quarterback away. They were a quarterback and many pieces away from being great again.
Yeah, and you saw what they did without Wilson when he got hurt for those few weeks. It literally, the trajectory of their season was like kind of floating along, and then as soon as he got hurt, it just like rapidly declined. They lost a few games in a row. Geno Smith was like kind of looking good for a little bit, but not really. And that right there, it just goes to show, like, without Wilson there, by trading Wilson, they're ready to rebuild. I would trade DK. I would get an extra pick and just hope that they draft correctly.
Yeah. New season does start technically next week. That's when free agency starts and whatnot. Probably have more moves by then. Move over to some NBA. We're going to talk about the struggling Bulls. They have gotten a decent bit of their guys back. They're still missing Caruso and Lonzo Ball, but they are on like a 5-game skid. And the major problem, as we've mentioned a couple times in the podcast history, the Bulls can't beat good teams. They are 0-14 versus the top 3 teams from the East and the West. That is bad. Bad teams beat those teams occasionally. And when you're decent and you can't beat any of them, that is very concerning. And I guess where we are seeing what people were talking about in the beginning of the season, their defense being a liability. They have good guards. Like, I get Ball and Caruso are good. But the major problems we're seeing is in the forwards and centers. Joel Embiid torched the Bulls. Giannis kills the Bulls. Like, when you have Bama Adebayo running pick and roll, it kills the Bulls. Like,
that pick and roll, they cannot stop the pick and roll. That Bama Adebayo exposed them. Teams are starting to run the double team on DeMar DeRozan, and now they're forcing out. It was crazy. I don't know if it was the Atlanta game or the Milwaukee game.
Oh yeah, and they lost to Atlanta too.
They lost to Atlanta in a game they shouldn't have lost. Trae Young took off. And that's the thing, though, about the defense. Like, yes, when Caruso comes back, yes. When Lonzo is back, yes. When they're 100%, the defense dramatically improves, right? In the beginning of the season, we saw it. Their defensive rating was top 10. Now they're in the bottom 10. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to push and shove, and it comes down to a 7-game series, Joel Embiid, Giannis, Bam Adebayo, Kevin Durant. At this point, I don't even know if we can beat the Celtics.
Jason Tatum. Yeah, the Celtics are heating up.
Jason Tatum's scary good right now. I watched that game from start to finish. Celtics and Nets. Had some money on the Nets because they were the underdog. They were practically full strength. I thought they were going to pull it off. I gave them 4.5 points. They ended up losing by 6. Why? Because Jason Tatum is a dog right now. He's a dog. He's great. When him and Jaylen Brown are on, one guy that goes, I don't think gets enough credit is the play of Marcus Smart. It's crazy how good he is. And there's not stats for it. Like, he's always right place, right time. He's hitting the open threes in the clutch. And, I mean, recently in the last couple of weeks, I saw he's had like a 12-assist game, 10-assist game, puts up 15, 20 points. Al Horford's doing his thing, which I didn't think Al Horford
Al Horford's been kind of like a playmaker. He's been nice with this Boston team.
Dude, Al Horford is definitely should go down in the history, especially at this age that he's still doing it. To me, he's a better, I don't want to say better, but I would rather have Al Horford over LaMarcus Aldridge, given the age group. That's how good Horford's playing, because Aldridge is actually not bad this year, considering he left the league for health reasons for a while and had to come back. And I like Boston. I think we were texting, and I think I had told you my top 5 were, I think it was like Philly, Brooklyn, Miami, Milwaukee, and the Bulls. That's my top 5 right there. And I'm talking like the Celtics are right there too. The Celtics are creeping up. The Bulls need to be healthy. I'm glad that they got Tristan Thompson. He got to play a lot yesterday, or was it yesterday against the Sixers? He got to play a lot. He got torched by Joel Embiid, but who hasn't?
Mm-hmm.
I think, again, fully healthy, it is a completely different team.
And like, to go along with their defense, another problem, they aren't a 3-point shooting team, yet they don't shoot free throws. That's a huge issue that they're having too.
You know what? I actually wanted to look at that because I did post on the Twitter. The Atlanta had like at least 30 free throw attempts to the Bulls, like 8.
Yeah.
The Bucks as well ended up shooting
33 and the Bulls at 11.
What was the last game against the Sixers? Yeah, because it was like the same story.
That's huge. When another team is shooting 20 plus more free throws than you, that can determine a game.
So the Bulls did get a lot of free throws down the stretch. So they shot 26 free throws to the Sixers 34.
Okay, so it's not
so the Sixers scored 7 more points on free throws, and it doesn't seem like a big deal, but when that's the downside with this style of play. DeRozan does go to the foul line a lot on that mid-range jumper, surprisingly, but he's not in attack mode. Zach LaVine is in attack mode quite a bit. We noticed the refs really aren't giving him those calls that some of the other guys are getting, like Trae Young and Luka and James Harden. And there's not really anybody else outside of those two that can really force getting to the free throw line besides those two guys. Kobe's a shooter. Javonte Green camps outside a lot. We literally have everybody camping outside besides Nikola.
And he doesn't draw fouls. He
barely draws fouls.
He does that jump hook.
Which it's on. Actually, he's been pretty good lately. He's had a couple games where he shot under 50%, which is, to me, a no-no as a center, but he's a shooting center, so that's fine. But that foul game is going to be something in the playoffs to look out for. That's why being fully healthy is going to be key. We can focus on Lonzo, the efficient 3-point shooting, being a facilitator, taking the ball out of DeMar DeRozan's hands. It sounds crazy, but DeMar DeRozan playing through him all game is bittersweet. You know he's good. He's the mid-range maestro. He's good. He can shoot, high efficient, draws the foul. Guys land in his landing area. Sometimes gets a flagrant for it. But as we've been seeing lately, some teams will draw the double, especially down the stretch, and he's forced to kick it out to somebody. It's like it's not a quick reaction. He tries to spin away from the double, gets caught, has to force a pass, and at that point, teams are designed to shift, help defense on the double. I do it in 2K all the time. I know how it works. But once we can get the ball out of his hands, and now we have Lonzo Ball back, or Caruso, who actually might be the only other guy who can draw fouls because he drives the lane so well, it's going to be a different story. It's going to be a different dynamic. And I'm really, really, really hoping that we don't have to face the current top 3 in the playoffs in the first round as it's looking. Because if we have to play the Nets, if we have to play Philly, Philly is scary. I consider them to have a big 4. Tyrese Maxey is a dog. I love Tyrese Maxey. I don't want to face any of those guys. I don't want to face Milwaukee. I don't want to see Giannis in the playoffs at all. I need him to get booted in the first round. I don't want to see Giannis. That dude is... I don't care. There's people who hate on him. He's at the best. He's literally at his peak, and he's the best.
He's at the LeBron level of every round of the playoffs he gets to. He's more dangerous. Like, you got to stop him early, or you are not stopping him at all. You will make the finals then.
I'm talking same game parlay Giannis for 35 and 12. Every same game parlay in the playoffs. That's how good he is. I said this at the beginning of the season. I got a lot of heat from a lot of friends, but I did not have the Bulls. I had them at number 4 at best. I had Milwaukee ahead. I had Brooklyn ahead.
I think I had them 5.
Did you have them 5? We'll have to go back and check that. I know
the one I slipped on was the
Instagram.
Sixers, but I never expected them to get Harden, and also I didn't expect Embiid to have as dominant of a season as he's having.
I thought he would have as good of a season last year, but this is like its takeoff.
And their team's playing well with him.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And who is the other team that we had in the... Well, I had the Bulls at 4. So I had Miami. I said Miami's defense.
I had the Hawks top 4.
I think I had the Hawks at 5. I think that's why I had fallen to 5, then Philly at 6, and then maybe the Celtics at 7. But that right there... Miami is scary too, because you got to think that defense is locked down and they have nothing but shooters on that team. Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, Jimmy at times can be a shooter. Tyler Hero, who's definitely 6th man of the year. There's no way he's not. And then you have the dominance of Bam Adebayo. You have the dominance of, I guess, Duncan Robinson. You have the dominance. Everybody dominates. And Tyler Hero, but
Victor Oladipo's back, Lowry.
Oladipo's going to be back. Kyle Lowry. I like Kyle Lowry. He's Butler, been a little quiet this year.
Who's been struggling, but Jimmy on the defensive end is still probably there.
I think playoff Jimmy's going to be a little different. I think he's going to bring the intensity. And his offensive scoring might not show it, but he'll rack up the steals, rebounds, assists. He's still going to be a playmaker like he is, so... I think he'll be good. I like Miami. I feel like whoever has to face them, it's going 7 games no matter what. If you're going to beat Miami, it's 7 games. I can't say the same for the Bulls as of right now.
I am it's getting sad watching them play recently, but that's how the season goes. There's tough stretches. There's hot stretches. They just need to start beating some of these good teams when they get the opportunity. Like, crazy. It's crazy how the Clippers, without Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, can sweep the Lakers in a 4-game season series, But the Bulls can't rack up a win against any good team. I get the Lakers aren't a top team right now, but they do have top players. Like, they do have good players on their team. The Lakers should beat the Clippers probably every time.
Yeah. I feel like the Lakers are tanking at this point. Maybe not, though. They're very frustrated. LeBron fighting with fans, Russell Westbrook fighting with fans. Like, you don't do that unless you're frustrated. There's something going on there. But with the Bulls, it's only a matter of time. We got 2-3 weeks, hopefully, before we start to see Caruso, Lonzo, and perhaps I don't know if he's gonna make a big difference yet, but it's the idea of having depth in the lineup to have the 6'8", 6'9" future Kawhi, if you will. He can make an impact. We'll see. I know it's tough. It is tough. Watching, yeah. I knew Joel Embiid was going to go off. I didn't know he was going to make it look easy, though.
It's him and James Harden just rack up. I post on Twitter. It's disgusting how many free throws they get, not attacking the Sixers in this way. They just know how to get to the free throw line. But what makes it even more disgusting is how efficient they are at shooting free throws. Joel Embiid's a big man, and you would normally think he shoots a 70% clip. No, he shoots almost 90% from the free throw line.
And he gets to the free throw line. Those are pretty legit fouls because he literally can take you off the dribble, shoot along the baseline mid-range. Now, as a big guy, you're already slow as it is, and Joel Embiid moves quicker than most bigs. So now you're going to play him a little bit tighter because you don't know if he's going to shoot the jumper over you. And then all of a sudden he drives the lane and you're all over him, and that's a foul. I think the Sixers, if I had to bet money on it right now with the teams as is, I think the Sixers in a series at least make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't see how they don't make it to the finals unless Ben Simmons comes back and literally is like Defensive Player of the Year and he shuts down everybody, which is possible. Like, he was doing it before.
I think the only way that they don't make it is if they end up as a 2 or 3 seed and the Bucks end up as a 2 or 3 seed as well. And Giannis beats them out.
In the second round.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Milwaukee, I know you look at the team and you're like, outside of Giannis, who do they have? They just have the right pieces. I know we hate Grayson Allen in Chicago, but you got to respect what he does bring to the table. He's basically an Alex Caruso for them. He's a role player. He shoots the 3 ball pretty well. Bobby Portis is a damn good center. You could thank Chicago for that one. And then obviously Chris Middleton, who just dropped like 44 points on Sunday. Drew Holiday's his offense has turned it up a notch. So Milwaukee could very well repeat. I have a feeling the East is pulling away with the finals championship this year. If for some, I have this weird feeling in my gut that the Lakers are going to win this play-in tournament and they end up as the underdog to go to the finals, and they have this awesome Cinderella story for LeBron James and Russell Westbrook. That would be interesting to see. I have a weird gut feeling that something like that could happen. Don't count them out. Anthony Davis, all of a sudden, is just 100% healthy. Double-double every night. It might be worth throwing some money on them to win the finals. I'm just saying. If you got $10 to lose, but you want to win like probably 70.
Yeah, we could always do that. Wrap out the episode, we have some baseball updates. Apparently, like, last week was the deadline to get the lockout resolved for them not to cancel games. They couldn't get it resolved. They spent like all night discussing. They spent the following day discussing. Ron Manfred said first 2 series of the baseball season canceled. They aren't going to make them up. All of a sudden now there's a new deadline, which is tomorrow, that if they get this done, then they could not cancel games. I don't get what's up with these imaginary deadlines. I think Major League Baseball is trying to just pressure the players into a deal. I really hope this gets resolved soon. There's all these different changes too. One day there's a 14-team playoff. The next day there's a 12-team playoff. There's a shift band one day. Like, there's so many different rules that's happening at the moment. But I'm not going to discuss it until it actually happens. Just want baseball back, man. I have no drive at all to play MLB The Show when the new game comes out because baseball isn't here.
It's going to be tough, but they need you in the community, Healy. You cannot do that to them. We need baseball. We need baseball bad. Especially there's free agents still to get signed. Like, there's a whole lot to happen still. There's like, this is the longest drawn out, and it's crazy because you know a lot of people are like, well, baseball is year round. Like, this is, you don't understand. You don't understand. Baseball, yes, is year round, but now we're talking what is it? The first series or first two series?
First two series.
First two series. That takes you already almost into the middle of April. If it continues, now we're going to be looking at another set of series, maybe two. We're looking middle to the trailing end of April. Then what? We miss games. These are key. I mean, it doesn't sound like much, but on 162 games, sometimes a series or two. I mean, I don't think they're going to get made. I mean, are they talking about making up these games like double headers? It makes you wonder. They're key games. Every game's key.
Next week, we have a lot of updates on NFL news, NBA. Somewhat, we can update the Bulls. Hopefully, they have a better week. But baseball,
maybe a 5-game winning streak.
Baseball, we could be talking about free agents next week.
Yes,
so be ready for that. As soon as the deal's done, I expect guys to sign almost immediately because you would want to be on a team. I like only a few weeks till the season starts. It might actually hurt some free agents. They might take 1-year deals. They might be forced to because the money's
Correa to the Cubs, announce Chris Bryant to the White Sox, and Rizzo going back to the Cubs as well. Let's just give the baseball fans what they want.
Yeah. Anyways, you can follow us on social media at SROnlyPod, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Our personal pages are, well, mine is at the Healy6 on Twitter and Instagram.
And I am iGoose with 4 O's, as always, on everything. Just search it up. Follow me. Let's talk sports. Follow the SR Only Pod Twitter for sure. We like to put out polls. We like to hear what you guys have to say.
I'll see you guys next week.